Good morning, friends. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome, chat. Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown. It's me, your friend, Morgan Peter Brown, flying solo today. How we doing? Hi, friends. How was your weekend? Let's see. It's been forever. Drew B. It's forever since you've been able to watch one of these live. Well, Drew B., I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that everyone's here. Just Jules, Dead Feather, Red Robin, Dyson Capes, and TM. I love you all. Thank you so much. We are going solo today, but I think this is going to be a fun time. We got lots to talk about. Been so much stuff happening in the last week or so. Morning, Seraphy, 8 p.m. UK time. Well, and a very good evening to you, Seraphy. Thank you for joining us around supper time, or maybe post-supper time. I'm not sure. I'm a late dinner eater myself. Yeah, my wife wants to eat dinner at 6 p.m. and I grew up in a family that ate dinner at 9. So it's a hard adjustment. These are things you do when you're compromises you make in marriage. Anyway, we're off to an interesting start. Zadia, good to see you as well. It's an exciting time. And all of our schedules have been bananas. We had a lovely baby shower for one Miss Katie Michaels yesterday. I say we had it. We didn't throw it, but we were there and we showered Katie with babies. Isn't that how that works? No, wait, that's not how that works. I'm sorry. But if you missed last Wednesday's game night, and if you've missed Katie's social media, one Miss Katie Michaels is not only pregnant, she's very pregnant. We've been kind of keeping that under wraps for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's impossible to keep it totally under wraps, but it was just sort of we'll tell them when we're ready. That's fine. Yeah, we're so excited. Someone brought up that I think it was Jared's son Logan arrived about 5 episodes into our first campaign, and Katie's child shall be arriving right around the start of our second campaign. So just Jules. I was actually rewatching part of episode 5 recently for one reason or another, and I was like, oh yeah, and that was the one that we gave Jared a basket of stuff, including diapers, right at the start of the episode. So we've lived so much life in these 3 years since this show started. I've said this before, but it's not just about these 3 years, but it's also like the most dramatic, eventful 3 years in the world. Recently, anyway. Campaign babies. That's right, Prophet Keelik. Yes. One baby bird campaign, Seraphy. I don't know. That's an interesting pace. We'll see about keeping that up. The episode recap at Jess's a few weeks back, I noticed Katie was different. Yes, Dead Feather. She was starting to show a little bit, but yes. Yeah. But we're so excited. And and we've already talked about basically what that'll mean for the cast. I'll say this again, we expect certainly not as rotating and as episode to episode anywhere near as much as Fortune and Fate. We have a core cast for Campaign 2, much like we did with Heroes of Bingle. But we are expecting to have more guests, and we are expecting certainly Katie to be out for a bit. And so we've already introduced everyone last week to Adam Slemon, an amazing player and actor that we can't wait for everybody to meet. You've met him playing games with us and chatting, but you haven't met him as a D&D player, and he's fantastic, and I can't wait for you all to experience his energy at the table. My goodness. Okay, we have so much to talk about. So this was like, I'll start off by this. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of scheduling things going on. We are probably going to move the day and time, well, maybe not the day, definitely the time of the cooldown. It will probably have to push into the evening another night, simply because we're all doing a lot of things and we're all working multiple jobs, and simple fact of the matter is, one of the reasons that I'm solo here today is because no one else could make it. And that was fine. I was like, I got plenty to talk about. Me and Chad will just hang. It'll be a great time. But that's, yes. Oh my God, Just Jules. roll a character just for funsies per kid that's born since TDR. Sambrea will get to in the next session 0 coming out. Hint, hint, it's very soon. But yeah, that is one of the things we wanted to, and we'll probably put like some polls in Patreon and on the Discord as well when people might like to see if the cooldown had to change times, if it couldn't be a midday thing. Because we like the idea of a Monday lunch, but I'm just not, at least for the immediate futures, it's just not going to be feasible with everybody's schedules. So we're probably going to have to adjust its time. So we'll probably take some suggestions for folks to hear when and where they would like to see those, when they'd be available, and what would be a good time for folks. Yeah, fourth and back. Okay, so let's get to talking about the session 0s. So we've already posted 2. I'm loving. There's so much going on right now with us. We've been, as we've said, we've been keeping a lot under the table, under our, behind our shields for a little bit, and so it's so exciting to finally start to release some of this really cool stuff we've been working on. And I'm so excited for it. And the responses so far to mine and Jess's session 0s have been incredible. And we've been doing this long enough where I'm confident when I feel like this is good, this is really good. But there's still those nerves because it's new and it's a new character, and I'm not playing James, and Jessica isn't playing Fahima, and it's Jared and Ron on the other side of the table. There's all these differences. But we're still like, no, but this is really great, and I'm feeling really excited about the quality of the stories we're telling already, and it's incredibly gratifying to see you all see it and respond in that way. Thank you, Just Jules. I've been blown away as well. Jared and Ron, I'm loving a lot of people being like, I had no idea how this dual DM thing would work. And the most immediate thing that you notice is when they can play 2 NPCs. And so it's no longer Jeff talking to himself. Dyson Capes, I think Morgan did something to Ron and Jared. Dyson Capes is referencing the fact that my character prologue session 0 is traumatic. They waste no time in going for the throat for me, which, as I've said in the Discord, I think I have no one to blame but myself. I keep having this thing. Thank you, Dyson Capes. I'm glad everyone is enjoying it, but it's definitely it's a whirlwind of an hour where a whole lot happens. They are very smooth working together, Red Robin. I agree. I keep having the stuff that inspires me, the stuff that when I'm trying to create a character, and that's why, by the way, I have the D&D Beyond character creation screen ready to go, because I thought maybe we could do some fun character creation here later on. But I wanted to talk first. But when I'm trying to create a character for a longer campaign, when I'm trying to think about fun stuff to play, I'll start looking inside myself, but then also looking at interesting story arcs and relationships that I'd be interested in exploring. And if you've seen my character prologue, you could see I prepped a lot of stuff. I once I got inspired, I was like, oh, and we can go in this direction. Oh, and there can be this relationship that can be fascinating. And oh, about all this. And I don't know what this is going to mean. What if he was engaged to someone and it didn't work out? All this stuff. And Jared and Ron listened to all of those notes, took all of them. Yep, Crafton Crunch, it's just me today, buddy. We're going to have some fun. Jared and Ron very fastidiously listened to all of those notes and then threw them all in my face immediately. And by that I mean my character prologue is right into the drama. It's oh man, okay, here we go. I remember thinking this about James a couple times, where it was I thought this would be fun to, or at least fascinating and interesting to play out this character arc. And the truth is, yes, it is, but it's also exhausting. And when you're oh man, yeah, I signed up for every bit of this. Yep. Val will be premiering in the next season of Succession. That's correct. There is definitely a vibe of D&D meets Succession and Game of Thrones in my session 0, and I'm so excited for all the possibilities. Yeah, man, and I'm so excited because okay, we've seen Jessica's and we've seen mine. Actually, I say that I have not seen Jessica's. I know who Jessica is playing. I'm well aware of Saint. I have not watched her session 0. I don't think we're trying to watch each other's because it'll be more fun to sort of learn where everybody's coming from fresh when we're there for episode 1. Some people used the D&D for therapy. Some people need therapy after D&D. Just Jules, that's very well put. I use D&D for therapy. Sure, I'll say I use D&D as a companion to my therapy. They go hand in hand. Yes, for instance, by the way, things I didn't get to explore with James that I'm now aiming and excited to explore with Val are family relationships. James had a little bit of that with Fesh and Nance, kind of, but it wasn't really the core of James's story. With Val, it's very present and at the forefront of his drama. Red Robin, are 5e Dragonborn related to the Dragonlance Draconians? Red Robin, I don't know. I'm not sure of the... I mean, I would bet that there is some overlap, certainly. I know D&D obviously pulls inspirations from all kinds of places. That's a good question, though. Well, and Dragonlance, obviously, we know that they are starting to create more stuff for there as well. Zadia, are you guys starting at level 1? No, we are starting at level 3, actually, which I was a little surprised, but we are. So you're gonna learn a lot about the characters very fast, actually. Oh, thank you, Midnight Clover. Thanks so much. It's so much fun. We're so excited. All the crew that make this the best show ever. Thank you. Can't wait to see where the new run goes. Neither can I. We do have info on some subclasses. Jessica is playing a homebrew subclass created by one Ron Ogden. That's a very cool cleric subclass that's sort of like, I don't know all the details, but they call it Storm Song, which is like, if you've watched Jessica's session 0, singing, you're going to be hearing a bit of singing from Jessica, which if you haven't watched Jared's 2-shot Festival of Sapphire Lights, Jessica's singing is just, she's been kind of keeping it from us a little bit. And it's super exciting. Ron has too, by the way. And Jessica's character prologue, we hear the beautiful singing voice of one Ron Ogden, and it's amazing. But yes, it's a little different. It's not quite Stormcaller. It's a little different. She's a Disney princess, just Jules. Yes, she's a half elephant Disney princess. Look, I will. Here's a little bit of sneak peek. Shortly after the cooldown ends today, a few minutes after we end, we'll be going live with our new character prologue of the day, which is we're going to release the remaining 3 this week for the 5 core characters to start the season. And I'm so excited because it's going to be Serena. It's Serena Marie's character. You're going to get to meet them today. And I'm so excited for everybody. Serena's character was a character that so we ran our session zeros. Our session zeros were solo, as you're seeing, as you know, the pre-adventure. So episode 1, we will all be meeting each other for the first time. But we did do little, for lack of a better term, like chemistry games. We did get the groups of us around a table with friends, with some people we know, and we're letting Ron and Jared practice together, but also us getting to know our own new characters a little bit. And I will say, I'm so excited to play more with Serena. She was someone whose character I found so drawn to. I found it was a weird relationship, almost like a James and Ugo in a very different way, and you'll see, where I saw Val and her character, I was like, oh, I'm gonna protect this little guy with my life. Yeah, that was basically my feeling with Serena's character, and there was such like an immediate chemistry there. It was like, oh, we've got to make this happen. We're so excited. But yes, so again, her character prologue will be going live shortly after we end with the cooldown today. So be on the lookout for that. And again, you can watch the character prologues right now just by being a $5 patron on our Patreon. So if you haven't signed up yet, Jessica and mine's are already up there, and there'll be 3 more going up this week. They're all 30 minutes apiece. Mine's the longest. Hi, Jess. Good. Thanks for joining us. And mine's the longest because I have the most NPCs. I don't know if I have the most drama. I won't say that. But you know, I mean, you meet Val's entire family basically, and it's rough. As if she was summoned. That's correct. But yeah, we're so excited for people to meet Serena's and Carrie's and Katie's. I talked about this a little bit on Wednesdays. Katie Michael's character, man. Ursula the Ursaka. If you look, Lily Dumblestuck is close to our hearts and always will be. Ursula was an immediate, just like just open heart, like, oh my gosh, like I love this character so much immediately. It's really exciting, and we can't wait to meet I can't wait to sort of see her dynamic in the story and what her story is about, because I just have the vaguest details, but just seeing Katie play this different kind of nervous, introverted character, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be great. But yes, all that is coming this week. Now we're gonna have some other really big updates coming this week, and I'm being vague because I have to be, because there's still some things up in the air, but some really big updates coming later this week about schedule. But I will say, yes, if you join Patreon right now, you can watch the character prologue session zeros as soon as they come out. But everyone will get the chance. They will go public to everybody. We will probably stream them at some point on Twitch, all as one thing, before our first episode. And I will go back to answer, whose question was it? Red Robin's. Season 2 is going to be in person, correct? It will be. We're so excited. It will be at a studio that is the other thing, that there is a lot more updates coming about, again, hopefully this week. So be on the lookout. We've been keeping a lot of information under wraps, and the time is now to start showing it to all of you. We're so excited. Yes, it will be in person as much as possible. It is Jessica is a mole who's working for the Watchers to leak as much information as possible. She's the Tom Holland of our group, and I'm just Marvel Studios, I guess. But whatever, that's fine. But yeah, more information coming about that very, very soon. The world's chaos. I can't promise that we won't have to jump back to remote for one point or another, but it is truly our desire and our intention to make Campaign 2 as much in person, around the table, all of us, as possible. I'm Benedict Cumberbatch. Thank you, Dyson Capes. I appreciate it. It's especially, there is something about the in-person dynamic of the game. I mean, I feel like, I'll toot our horn a little bit. I feel like we got as good as we could get at Zoom with Heroes of Bingle. And that was really largely because of the time we'd spent around the table. When it comes to listening and timing, especially when you're a new group of folks who don't know each other, or don't know each other in these specific roles, that in-person timing is so important for just building that trust and that fun, just back and forth. And I'm so excited to continue to build the chemistry and the dynamic and the vibe, just building the vibe of this group together. the performers we're getting, I'm so amazed. And you've met most of them, and as I've mentioned, we'll have more guests, some of whom you've already met. We're really excited for that coming throughout. And I'm so excited for Ron and Jared just to continue, for this two-headed monster to continue to grow and continue to build, already seeing their just assists that they give each other on like little bits of description, or if like one NPC will pop in with the other one, and just these moments that weren't possible before. It's really exciting, and I can't wait to see. We did announce, Jess, yep, Serena Marie is going live shortly after our cooldown ends today. Yes, I'd never been in a 2DM game either, Midnight Clover, prior to this. I'd heard of some. I'd had some friends who'd done it. Ron, I don't believe Ron and Jared had ever, certainly not with each other, but Ron may have co-DM'd with somebody before or played with a co-DM before, but no. And so it's mostly new to all of us, and it's just continuing. I think it's only possible because of the trust, between the two of them, and going, we both know the facts and figures of this world so specifically that, if and they'll let one or the other will lead who's sort of making the clear decisions, but they both know the circumstances very clearly about where something might be going, or what the world is around them and who the people are. Again, it's really amazing. So yeah, we got 3 more campaign session zeros, character prologues. Boy, this talking by myself for an hour I've often thought about it, listening to like talk radio. That's got to be pretty hard, and it is difficult, but I'm enjoying it. I hope you're all enjoying it too. When do we get a map mouse pad? Forth and back. Spoiler alert. No. We're going to have new campaign, means new setting, means new merch, means so many more exciting things. We're so excited. Means new character art from JD Illustrates. JD Illustrates is almost done with all the character art. I've seen most of them, and oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. This party, if you can't tell, no, you've only met 2 of them so far. This party, I'm gonna call chaotic adorable. We are so excited, because the dynamic of this party is everyone is just bringing these super strong characters, and they're all, I don't want to say wearing their hearts on their sleeves, because Val definitely isn't doing that, but they're all sort of coming from these like really intense places of need and want, and we're so excited, and I can't wait for everybody to meet this group. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I have no idea where our story's going. I know it's gonna involve storms. That's about it. That's about it. And I know we're all apparently getting, it's, and none of us know each other at the start of episode 1. Yes. But yeah, there's more info, and as we've seen, I'm playing a Dragonborn fighter. You'll learn more about him soon. There's other things that he's a duelist. He's more of a dex-based duelist, he's very good with a sword. But yeah, there's some more stuff coming about with his story very soon that I'm super excited about. Forth and Back says, Jess has had some Stormlight Archive vibe to me. I'm actually not super familiar with that. I've heard a lot about it, though. I am not playing Spellcaster, Doc Lannister. I talked about this a little bit in the Cast Secret that I posted on Patreon about a little over a month ago. One of the challenges that I sort of took on for myself with this new character for this new campaign, with Val, my Dragonborn fighter, is I wanted to try. I've always been such a fan of sword fighting in movies and sword play. I actually was trained in stage combat with like rapier and dagger and what they call small sword, which is kind of like epee, a little bit, a foil, fencing. I was trained in that. It's been a long time. I'm way out of practice, but I'm super excited to really explore martial fighting in D&D and try to make it as visual and evocative as spells, if that makes sense. Spells are so visual. I mean, the game really helps you by describing how Eldritch Blast is, Eldritch Blast, I'm wearing my Eldritch Blast t-shirt. How Eldritch Blast is like a dark crackling bolt of eldritch energy flies from your hands. Whereas usually with martial fighters, we just get so used to, I run up and I hit it with my sword twice, I really am going to try to, with Val, make sword play with him as visual and interesting and as much a part of his character as James's spells. As I would love it if I could come to a way with some of these fighting moves as if they are a Hunger of Adar, so to speak. I'm really excited for that. Numera, I adore swordplay as well. If you saw my YouTube history right now, I've been watching so many great sword fight scenes from movies. Movies I've loved for years, but I'm just reacquainting with myself, trying to get back in. It's like, oh, how if it was a rapier, how would that be? That's mostly slashing, but a little bit of stabbing. Is Val looking for a six-fingered man, Zadia? That's an excellent question. No, he's not. But I completely love the reference. And of course, I've been watching some Princess Bride. Are you kidding? Hubby was a fencer back in the day. That's awesome. I do love fencing. Fencing's hard to watch in the Olympics just because it's so fast. It's so fast when you're like, oh my gosh, where'd the hit come from? So many times. So it's like choreographed fights tend to be a lot easier when you're just watching. When you're watching, oh, okay, the moves are a little bit clearer because it's more cinematic and it's more about storytelling. I was always taught that fighting is like dance and just like acting, and your moves should be like words or sentences. So, if everything's super fast and your audience has no idea what was going on, you're not really helping tell the story. You need to make it as much part of your character as anything else. Highlander, Red Robin, you're speaking my language. I love the Highlander movies. Well, I love the first Highlander movie. There's something to enjoy about all of the Highlander movies. Highlander 2 is a terrible, terrible movie. Yes. Ken Bonds. I watched a thing on The Witcher and the swordplay they've done by a master swordsman. It was really interesting. I will try to find that. That's fantastic. We don't talk about Highlander 2, Red Robin. Exactly. Thank you. It's a terrible movie. I go easy on most movies. Highlander 2, though. It's terrible. Yeah, Highlander TV show, fantastic. Now we're all dating ourselves. Adrian Paul playing a Scottish character. No. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, there's so much on YouTube. Just whether it's scenes from movies or whether it's sword fighters or sword teachers teaching stuff, it's a treasure trove of sword fighting stuff. So I'm greatly looking forward to. Don't talk about Indiana Jones 4, Fourth and Back. Don't bring that in here. Adrian Paul was your first real crush, Numera. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Tall, dark, and handsome. What are you going to do? Yeah, no. Anyway, Highlander movies. Kids, if you haven't watched Highlander, the first Highlander, it's fantastic. It's very 80s. Queen did the entire soundtrack. And Sean Connery, in a movie full of Scottish people, decided to play a Spaniard. I'd make of that what you will. Anyway, it is amazing. It's great. Anyway, where were we? My wife is walking by right now and probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about.
I'm wondering why you're not telling them that you're going to go do a sword class again.
I know. There are some sword classes here in Los Angeles, and I'm definitely considering it. I would have a blast. Yes, let's get back into good sword fighting shape. Absolutely agree. No, I think it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun and making this as again as visual and evocative and as much a part of the story as spells. So look out for that. But yes, so I'm really excited to play a fighter, and I'm gonna try to go as non-magical with him as possible, and you'll understand if you've seen his character prologue. You'll sort of get sort of the sense about why that is. But I'm really looking forward to letting everybody else handle the spell burden. Yeah. Oh man, Brandon Nerd, the Halloween episode when everyone dresses up as their characters for this party is gonna be it's gonna be tough. I don't know how I'm gonna do a Dragonborn. We'll see about that. Katie's just gonna put on a bear suit. It's gonna be great, and Jess will be on stilts. Correct, forth and back. Well done. Oh my goodness. Okay, what else? Okay, there's so many other things. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have an excellent episode of Fortune and Fate coming up on Wednesday. Katie and I will be back. Nassim Etamad will be back. So we're gonna be. We've been with Jared, Ron, Jessica, and Jalen for a couple sessions now. We're gonna jump back. If you saw the last episode of Fortune and Fate, they definitely started to these mimic hearts, which is a terrifying prospect that Gabe has introduced, have started to pop up a couple different places, and so we're going to be checking back in with our characters on Wednesday night. Be on the lookout for that. That's coming. There's so many more updates, and big announcements that I'm a tease. I know I'm a massive tease. Everyone says this, but I do it out of love, and I do it because I need to make sure of certain things before I tell you guys things. And I better safe than sorry. And I don't want to promise something and then have to change it. That's what happens. I know, Dyson Capes. It's kind of what happens. What am I supposed to do? But having said that, we've all been working very hard. One, Jessica Lynn Parsons, who I don't think is in chat anymore, but she was earlier, has been cutting together these fantastic interview sessions that we've been posting to social media and on all of our TikTok and YouTube. If you haven't seen them, they're great. Just with each of the players and eventually with the DMs as well, talking about their character, talking about what they're excited about. For those of us who are in campaign 1, how they might be different than our previous characters. There's been a lot going on. I have not posted. We have posted a TikTok in a really long time. No, we did. We posted Jessica and mine's interviews just last week, and we'll be doing more of that. We do plan on posting more TikToks soon, though. Numera. Yes, I look right now, Numera. We posted 2 last week. The Venn diagram of TikTok and Highlander must be very small. Ninja Padero, how are you? Nice to see you. Yes. But I mean, TikToks, here's the thing. TikToks are hard work. I love a good TikTok. I love our followers on TikTok. The TikTok D&D community is incredible. It's a massive community on D&D. TikTok is a huge thing, and we love it, and we love finding new people. Oh, you're looking at my TikTok page. I see what you're saying about. Yes, I have not posted anything to my personal TikTok in a very long time because all my TikTok energy goes to the dungeon run, Numera. Christmas Eve. You're right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. You're correct. I have not posted a TikTok to my personal in quite some time. Anyway, where were we? Caught. I've been caught. What are you gonna do? Yes, but people have been asking about the in-person. This is an interesting point. Where you see our session zeros is actually not where we're filming the episodes. It's a different space. But we are so excited to show you more about the stage and all of that. Fail Waffle, how are you? Feel like it's been a minute. TT is an acronym now? I mean, I think it's always been. I'm not sure. Whatever. I think I see also people just referring to it as the clock app. Whatever. But we're so excited to share more about that and about, because we still haven't told you when the premiere is coming, because we're just waiting a little bit longer to make sure some things are totally locked in, and I expect us to have updates on all that very soon, as in the next few days. So it's going to be a big week. I say that a lot, but I'm really mean it. And again, 1:30 today. About that time, about shortly after we're done with the cooldown, go watch Serena Marie's interview on our social medias, and if you're a patron, go watch her character prologue for her character, because it's fantastic. Anyway, Fail Waffle, so do I, but the world is a chaotic place, and I can't control everything. Not everything is up to me. But we're doing everything we can. Thank you, Dyson Capes. I appreciate it. The Etsy dragon skin masks are latex, but some can be painted on request. This is a new thing to me. I don't know about an Etsy dragon skin mask. I will look into it. Do they have silver ones? Hope so. We'll figure it out. I think it's a lot of things. If you guys have any questions, if there's anything I'm missing that you want to hear more about, feel free to post in a chat. I'm here for it. Chaos is key through MPB. Dadpool, that rhymes a little too well. Numera, it's nice to see you as well. Failwaffle, you don't have to all caps me. What's your question? Oh my goodness. Let's see. I was also thinking, let's do some character creation while we're at this. I'm gonna do a random character creator. All right, here we go. Any new merch plans, especially international ones? Yes, yeah. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be releasing so much new stuff for the new campaign that I'm sure what will come with it is a bunch of new merch options. Ron, our incredible Ron Ogden, who is our maestro of the merch store, has been very busy with planning the new campaign. So we haven't had as much time, though we did put up the Heroes of Bingle Way 90% costumes, 10% names, 0% plan, is something we're really excited about. Oh, Jafrikas. Will Crystal be in the studio equipped with mandatory glitter? Jafrikas, are you and Crystal talking about this behind my back? Are you planning something? Please, look. Please, it's a studio. We'll have to clean it up immediately, and we'll just never get it all out of there. Please tell her not to. She's threatened. That's all I'll say. Crystal has threatened. We'll figure it out. Anyway, Fail Waffle. Know it might play into backstory, but why Dragonborn? Is it a race you've been wanting to play? I had the idea for Val earlier this year. And it's stressful. I'll just own up to it. It's stressful coming up with your next character after James Quillis. Your next long-term character. And knowing that and your next character that you're going to spend a chunk of your life with and a long time getting to know. And so I had a lot of ideas, and I wanted to try some interesting things, some details that will become more evident going forward. But I liked the idea of a noble, like, high class character, and I didn't want to play a human again. And so I looked at tieflings, I looked at ASMRs. I've played a few tieflings. I love tieflings. I'll probably play more. But I liked the idea of Dragonborn, and I liked the new wizards, the new D&D dragon subraces, whatever they call them. So he's the new metallic Dragonborn, which means he gets some new breath weapon abilities as he gets higher in level, which are really exciting. I'm there. It was a story that I thought I could really relate to, and there will of course be some similarities between Val and James, because they're both being played by me. And it's all coming from my brain, so what are you gonna do? But I'm looking forward to removing the filter from James a bit more. And I think I've mentioned this in my interview and stuff, but I think Val is someone who is the black sheep of his family, sort of, and is known as something of a screw up. But he's not really very guilt-ridden about it. He's more kind of defensive, and he's sort of got some snark, and not afraid to fight over something if he feels it's unfair. Biggest difference between James and Val going into the campaign is, it's a good question, physical strength. No, just kidding. Physical strength and dexterity. No, that is a good question. I think amount at stake, if that makes sense. If you've seen Val's character prologue, no, it's a wonderful question, Phil. Well, thank you. If you see, if you've seen Val's character prologue, he is coming in hot. By that I mean there's a lot that happens immediately to him. And so, yes, James was running from things and running from, and hiding things at the start, but it was kind of just him. And he was looking to make himself very small. And what you have with Val is someone who is trying to make a name for himself. He's not trying to hide. He's actually trying to find himself in these really strange set of circumstances he's been given, when he's been told for years that he should be something else. And it was and him rejecting that in a myriad of ways, and probably not always wisely or nicely rejecting that. He's spurned a lot of people because I think he wasn't talented in the way people expected him to be talented, or didn't have an affinity for things, or didn't have the attention for it, or didn't enjoy it. And expectations, that's a huge difference actually between James and Val, is the weight of expectation. Nobody expected anything from James. He was a nobody, as he says, and he was hiding in the shadows and felt very alone. Val had all the expectations in the world put on him, and he rejected it. And he tried maybe to find his niche, tried to find what he was good at. But if you've had parents like that who can kind of put that pressure on you, sometimes you just push back out of just to feel like yourself, just to feel like, no, I have my thing. Will we all be preparing backup characters? Boy, because Jared and Ron, let me tell you, Jared and Ron pulling no punches. Not that, I mean, Jeff would go. Jeff got a bad rap for being easy on us sometimes, and then he would prove it that he was not easy on us other times, and we like, what are you people talking about? Jared and Ron going for the throat like immediately. So I will see. I'll be surprised if people don't notice that immediately. Yeah, Val already has rebelled a bit. He's coming back from a little bit of self-imposed exile. He comes back for a number of reasons, but he doesn't really come back with any kind of savior, savior complex. He's not really interested in being his family's savior. He cares for his family, but he's also feels very spurned by them, and some of them especially. And so it's kind of this, trying to show people that I think what he will be sort of, by being thrown into this crucible of action and activity and drama and all this stuff, he really will be forced to show the world that he can do something, that he can be somebody, maybe not what he was expected to be, and that kind of Jared joked it was he's a midlife crisis dragonborn. I don't think that's quite it. But I think it's kind of those sort of, I think about those paths taken. What do you call them? Inflection points. I don't know if you have any of those in your life, but the big ones, and then there's tiny ones everywhere, but some big ones. And I think Val is somebody who can't help but look back at some of those points. Dadpool says, I can see Ron and Jared running the show as, like Araban has said before, let the dice roll. Yeah. I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see how different this table feels in a lot of ways. And how this story develops. Thank you, Fail Waffle. I'm excited to play Val. Also, I think Jared and Ron have the benefit that Jeff Jeff was under a lot of pressure at the very start of our campaign because as we've said many times, our show was only supposed to be 10 episodes to start. And and Jeff has admitted many times, if you told him at the start of the campaign, you're going to do this for 115 episodes, actually, he probably would have said, no, thanks. No, I'm good. It was only once they hooked him, then once we got him, he was like, all right, I'll keep doing it. I love it so much. Jared and Ron have the benefit of not having to create this little perfect 10 episode music box of something. They know they can take their time on things, and they can plant seeds that maybe we'll get to, maybe we won't. D&D, you never know what path your players will go down. But I think Jared and Ron have that benefit in their corner, which is nice. Jeff did such a beautiful job in expanding his own story well beyond what it was ever intended to, even though he was, as we've talked about many times, he was planting seeds for himself. There was no way he was ever going to get to the puzzle of Urtenfurt's name in 10 episodes. No way. And so it was like, all right. But it was there all along, and he knew it. But Jared and Ron have not only the benefit of working together and being able to have that sort of writer's room of playing off each other, but you also get to see what they know, sort of, they have a little bit more clear expectations about a longer term story arc with all these characters. Thank you, Fail Waffle. I agree. And we caught Jeff hook, line, and sinker. I know, I miss him. I text Jeff on the regular. He's doing quite well, and I know he's having a wonderful time, and I know we'll get him back soon. He's super excited that we're going back in studio. He does come to LA on a semi-regular basis for one thing or another, so we'll get him. Well, he's not getting away. No way, Kanata, you hear me? Yes, Fail Waffle, when are we getting on the extra stuff? You mean the interactivity? We've been working on a lot of that. There will be some changes to the interactivity, but we'll still be keeping mostly the same structure, if that makes sense. We'll be sort of theming it in a different way around the new campaign. But I'm really excited for what Jared and Ron have in store, and we're still sort of building that. But before the campaign starts, we will do sort of a full rundown, a full kind of what do you call it, like tutorial on what our ideas are for the interactivity and for the forces of good, forces of evil, whatever that's going to be going forward. But I'm really excited. And their force cards, we're going to need some force card suggestions from all of you. Now, what kind of force card suggestions? Don't start sending just yet, because Jared and Ron have some excellent ideas. And so you'll want to hear that before you start flooding the box with suggestions. Music Man, will Val have a mount coming from a noble background, having access to that kind of steed? I don't know. Maybe. He's not a cavalier. He's not a mounted fighter. Always could happen, for sure. Dragonboards are pretty heavy, though. I would feel weird about putting a dragonboard on the back of like a regular horse. I feel like dragonboards, even though Val is smaller for a dragonborn, he's only like 5'10", and dragonborns are normally like 6.5 to 7 feet tall. I made him short. So he's smaller for a dragonborn, but that bulky, like, scales, like they're dense. they probably weigh a lot, so I'd be worried about putting him on the back of just a regular horse. Yes. Forth and back, how dare you say that about Val's family? What do you know? Who's told you things? They're very rich. It could be a giant lizard. Music Man 77, stop giving Jared and Ron ideas. The army is at the ready for the force card suggestions. I have no doubt. I'm like we gotta let them know soon, because they're gonna look forward to it. Force of waffle. Now that just makes me hungry. We're not even going to get to character creation, and that's totally okay, because I knew we had so much to talk about. That's fine. Send me more questions if we got them. But yeah, we're really excited. We've talked a little bit about this, but we expect once the new campaign starts, Morgan likes pancakes more because he's, that kind of person. That's not true. That's not true. I don't know if I like pancakes or waffles more. I go back and forth. I think they're both great. And I'm not just saying that to be a people pleaser. Sometimes it's a time for pancakes, and sometimes it's a time for waffles. How dare you? Goodness. Let's see. What was I talking about? We talked about the force cards. There was another thing, and I'm not remembering. More Session Zero's campaign. Oh, so yeah, will be a lot of updates on the schedule coming soon. We've just been knocking things out. I'm so proud of our team. Guys, if you saw that everything that this team was doing, you would be so proud of them too. Jessica is creating incredible stuff. Jared and Ron, Jared and Ron don't tell us everything they're up to, and so then I find out later, and I'm like, "What? You did what?" We're gonna have, as we've said, new character art, new opening title animation, new and old stuff coming back in all the best ways. It's gonna be, the show is growing in a beautiful way, but it's still the dungeon run. It's still all started as a simple dungeon run. So I can't wait to keep showing everybody all the craziness that we've been up to. We know plenty, the cast does not. Dice and Capes, I know. I keep forgetting that. I'm talking as if you guys don't know. You actually, yeah, that's a good point. You've seen a lot more from Ron and Jared than I have. Last question. Biggest fear and biggest excitement for the new campaign. Biggest excitement is the new vibe and chemistry of this table of players. And because the performers that not only the five of us from campaign 1, but also Serena and Carrie and Adam and others that we're just so excited to tell new stories with, and you see what comes out of that, and what directions that leads us to. I'm excited for Carrie. I'm excited, we've said that Carrie is the Katie Michaels of this campaign because she's brand new to D&D, and she's such an excellent improviser and performer and actor, and she's taking to it in all the right ways. We definitely sold her a little bit. It's like, no, this can be a performer's dream. Trust us. And she had that same thing that Katie had, where she's just, she'll learn the rules, but she's focusing on the character, and will in many ways some of the audience can learn the game with her, and we liked that so much in campaign 1, so we thought it was a good idea to have a new player for campaign 2 in that way. Adam posted a picture. Adam has been helping her on the side. I've been helping her a little bit too, learning just the basic rules of D&D. It's really, really exciting. Trust us, Ron and Jared said. Yeah, yikes. My biggest worry, the world. No, as I said earlier, I hope that everything continues to go super well with going back in person, and that we're able to continue to do it, and that the pandemic behaves itself at least for long enough to keep everybody safe. My answer to everything, yes. I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous about playing Val. I actually apologized in the Discord because there are some moments in my character prologue where Val sounds a lot like James. Dropped into James a little bit. It was gonna happen because Val's voice is a little similar, but he's lower and gruffer than James, so he's more downhill. He's more down here like this. But there was a lot of softer moments in his prologue, so he actually sort of came up and sounded a bit more high class and sounded a little more like James. But I expect to learn Val's voice a bit more and grow stronger in that. Snooty James. I was definitely self-conscious about it. I said to Rod and Jared as soon as we turned the cameras off, I was like, James popped up a couple times there. That was weird. And they're like, it's fine. What are you going to do? Yes. But we're super excited. Biggest fears, but all the story stuff with Val, I'm super excited for, and I'm so excited for the community to get to know Serena and get to know Carrie and sort of see the excitement that we're all like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Thank you, Phil Wolfe. You're so sweet. And other things I'm worried about. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really worried about it. It's going to be okay. We plan to have Katie for a few episodes. Babies happen when they're going to happen, though. So that could definitely, that's a little bit of a volatile substance at the start of our campaign, and we're ready for whatever's going to happen. We have a game plan in place, but life sometimes has other ideas, so we'll see how that goes. That's some concern, but I'm mostly just really excited, and I know we'll figure it out. I know we've always said this from the beginning, but we established something very early on with the show where it's like we're figuring things out. So if we try a new thing with the interactivity and it doesn't work how everyone wants it to work, we'll change it. It's fine. We're making this show. We're nothing set in stone. We'll figure it out. And so I'm excited to try all the stuff that we're going to try, but I also know that we'll find it also. But I do know that these session zeros that we've done, just from a character storytelling standpoint, I expect our episode 1 to start from such a strong place storytelling wise. I feel like we're all coming from such a strong place having had these prologues that I can't wait for episode 1 to sort of, I think we're going to hit the ground running. I really do. Dadpool, can I finally talk about my movie and when it is coming out? Yeah, I've shared it a little bit on social media, but the movie I produced in last year that I was down in Mississippi for is coming out in August. We're having our world premiere at a film festival in Montreal, Canada, in July that I'm super excited for. But the movie's called Glorious. It stars Ryan Quanten from True Blood and Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons. Yup! I got to work with J.K. Simmons. He's awesome. It is a bizarre, dark, scary, funny, cosmic horror story. I did not intend to make a cosmic Lovecraftian horror movie while playing a great old one warlock. It just sort of happened. So the movie's called Glorious. It'll be available on Shudder in mid-August. August 18th, that's been announced. But I will keep everyone fully updated as to when it comes out. I can't wait for everybody to see it. It's nuts, guys. It's pretty out there, but I think you're going to love it. Yes. Can it be more of a technical question? But we're going to have one camera or multiple cameras? Just Jules, that's a fascinating question, and we're still talking about that. I think we always like the more cinematic style of cutting to multiple cameras rather than what's become sort of traditional TTRPG style of lock camera on this side of the table, lock camera on that side of the table. And that style definitely has its benefits, and I'm not saying we won't try it, but also it's nice to kind of like go full screen on the Dungeon Master for a bit, or cut to a close of some of the players. And we've always, one of our key tenets of the Dungeon Run has been to try to make it as cinematic as possible. And so I think we like that style a lot. And also we don't always want to look like all the other shows out there. It's sometimes better to find the thing to zag while everybody else is zigging, Does that make sense? Is there going to be a dice box cam, Seraphy? Maybe. We'll see. We will have less cameras this time. But not ruling it out. Okay, I need to go because, as I just said earlier, we are posting another character prologue in just a few minutes. So be on the lookout for that. Join the Patreon right now. If you're not, for $5, you're going to get 3 character prologues today, 2 more later this week. So much stuff happening. But we love you guys. All Drama, any tips on how to do a French accent? I mean, you can always start with Monty Python and say, your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. No, French accent. Actually, All Drama, look, it's a little over the top, but don't be afraid to go over the top with it. Be over the top. It's funny. Kevin Kline in French Kiss does a fantastically fun French accent. I can't speak to how accurate it is, but it's a lot of fun. So have fun with that. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a blast. We didn't do any character creation, but, you know, who cares? We're great. We're having a good time. We just had the D&D Beyond screened up with us this entire time. That was my co-host for the day. Thanks, D&D Beyond Screen. Doing great, Girk. So are you all. I love you guys. So many cool things. And thank you again for all the incredible reactions to all the new stuff we're putting out. There's more coming in a few minutes. And we love you. Have a great week. So much more. I'll see you on the Discord and on the social medias. But for now, humankind, be both. Mwah. Bye.